Hi, guys. It's Alyssa from Stories and Spoilers, the podcast. Thank you so much for coming to this episode. It is spooky season. I'm wearing a little ghosty shirt with books and bags from my silent book club. And I'm here with such a wonderful author. This is Holly June Smith. This is the author of Scary in Love. You may know her from Can I Tell You Something? She writes cute and little spicy books with holiday vibes and just the best characters ever. But without further introduction, this is Holly. Holly, introduce yourself.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Your listeners need to know that you have gotten up very early to have this conversation with me. You're at 6 a.m. I'm at 11 in the UK. I'm very honoured. Oh my gosh, where to begin about myself? Well, yeah, I'm Holly June Smith. I'm a contemporary romance author based in the UK. I write spicy romances, open door. Lots of my books are kind of seasonal, but I also have like a full-length completed series called the Sunshine Book Club series, which is about a few different friends and their various love stories. And yeah, I love being an author. I'm an indie author. I love being able to write about all different types of characters and different settings. And I'm really excited to be having this conversation a couple of weeks before the release of Scary in Love because we're about to head into spooky season, which is my
Mhm.
favorite time of year. I'm also, for the listeners, wearing a bat t-shirt, which says "Love at First Bite." It's one of my
So
faves.
cute.
And then the Halloween decor is slowly creeping into my house. My partner is not pleased. Every time I go out to a shop, I come back with something new, and he's just like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's book promo. It's book promo. I've expensed it." Um, So yeah, it's about to be like a full-on haunted house vibe over here, but I love it and that's very fitting for the book. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. For folks who haven't heard of Holly June Smith, and I hope that you definitely check out her books after this episode, um, Scary in Love is a book coming out very soon. It will be out September 10th of this year. So I'm so excited. I'll probably be releasing this episode before that so you can listen and then be like, give me a copy. But I wanted to ask Holly, can you give us a few words about Scary in Love? Tell us a little bit about what we can expect from this upcoming book.
So Scary in Love is about a haunted house actor, a scare actor, who meets a small town girl who is kind of sick of dating boring men. She has always felt like a bit of a weirdo, a bit of a creep. Some of her interests are a little non-conventional.
Ooh.
Um, and she's a wonderful character. Her name is Jenna, so she's Jenna Lang, and he's Mason Miller, and
Mhm.
she has always been obsessed with this like crumbling old rundown haunt like house that's on the outskirts of her town, and it's kind of like a local legend, and everyone has stories and theories about the house, and it's been abandoned for years. But suddenly it is being reopened as a Halloween haunt. So she is like first in line for tickets. She
Ooh.
goes there on a date. The date's a little bit of a disaster, but then she meets Mason Miller, the director of The Haunt, who obviously immediately falls for our heroine, Jenna Lang. And then they strike up a friendship and find out that they have a little bit more in common. So it's been honestly so much fun to write. So it's a novella length book. It's like 150 pages,
Oh, wow.
and it's perfect for this time of year because like it's short. You can read it in a day. You can curl up in a blanket, get your candles on, get a little
I love
pumpkin
that.
spice latte or your drink of choice on the go. But
Yes.
yeah, I wanted to write something that is, really like the house is really the main character for this book,
Mm.
the Miller Mansion it's called. And I wanted to have these two people fall in love in that setting, but also have a lot of super spicy fun. So I'm really
Mm.
excited for readers to get their hands on it. Yeah, I love it.
It sounds absolutely adorable. The cover is this like girl in a pink cardigan and like a pink skirt with like fishnets and boots. And this guy was like in a two-piece suit and this orange sky and a haunted house behind them. And if you guys, please follow Holly June Smith on Instagram because all of her edits about her books that are coming up show little quotes from the book, tropes from the book, and it just teases you. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, give me the book now. I'm just waiting for it. I'm every meme ever where I'm just like, please, someone present me with a gift, with a hope, with a dream. And then I just saw her book like kind of come out of social media, and I was like, and I was given a gift. I was given a dream. It's perfect for spooky season because you find a way to perfectly balance this vibe of romance and spice and yearning and like smutty goodness, but you also are able to balance this like in-depth character study. Each character in your book, I feel like I could have met these girls in real life. I feel like I know someone like them. Also, like I have my fingers crossed that Scary in Love will become an audiobook because one
Oh,
of your
me too.
books, yes, one of your books is such a great audiobook. It's a duet, and part of the story was just like audio feature that I don't
Mm,
want to spoil, but we'll discuss it later. But your audiobooks
okay.
have always been divine. So I'm like, oh yeah, I need this book to
Yeah,
be an audiobook.
I'm really hopeful it will be as well. And so, I mean, I'm a real open book. So I'm an indie author and I'm a real open book with how things are done.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of your listeners may not know this, but some
Yeah.
may. So apologies if this is not new information, but it's expensive to produce audiobooks. So I always release a book, and then depending on the success of that book, if that book does well enough, then I will funnel that money back into an audiobook production. And
Mm.
some authors will sign deals with audiobook companies, so they'll get like a small payment, but the audiobook company will get the bulk of the royalty. And that is a great way for indie authors to get their books made into audiobooks.
I didn't know that.
I prefer to do, but those companies will retain the rights to those audiobooks for 7 to 10 years. It depends
Oh
on the
wow.
contract, and make a lot of the money that the author could be making. So I prefer to self-fund my productions. I use a fantastic audiobook production company in the States called East House, which is Shane East's production company. And so I will pay them to get it done and they will hire the actors, but then I can make recommendations for narrators and and then when I get the audiobook and then I upload it, then most of the royalty will come back to me, which is great because then I can reinvest that money in the next book and the next book. So I've been an author for 3 years now, and it's been a real learning curve in terms of what people, what's the industry standard, what are the options, what is it that people are doing. So yeah, I'm also really, really hopeful because there are some lines in Scary in Love that honestly deserve to be heard in audio. And I'm excited for it to come out and see if people have like narrators that they think would be really good for these characters, or
Ooh.
yeah, we'll wait and see. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Okay, okay. For some reason, there's this voice actor, and he was the voice of Josh from Lights Out. I do
Oh
not know
yes,
this man's name, but his voice is amazing. Like his voice sounds like butter. I'm like, ah,
I do
like
know who you mean, but I've off the top of my head I've forgotten. Is it Teddy Hamilton?
I think so. I think
Yeah, I think it
so.
might be, and he's incredible. Yeah.
His voice is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
I highly doubt he'll hear this, but if he ever did, I'm like, your voice is amazing. I honestly love Lights Out a majority because of how great his acting was in that book.
Hmm.
Also, I do have a funny story. I was listening to that book and I did not read the blurb. I went in blind, which is a decision. And I went in blind and I was like, oh, like the cover looks really whimsical and interesting. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Like lights out, like, oh, like maybe it's a Halloween story. So I it is not. So I was listening to it and I did not know the names of the characters. My name is Alyssa. The love interest name is Alyssa. And I was working, I was doing something, I was on my lunch break, and I hear him say, Alyssa, turn around. I went, oh my God, turn around. I was like, who's talking to me right now? But it was the voice actor's name. It was the voice
Yeah.
actor acting. But I was like, wow, that was really good voice quality. I was very
Yeah.
scared.
And
Super
honestly, the
sexy book.
audiobook world is like incredible to me because I guess historically you had narrators who
Mm-hmm.
read the story and, like that was kind of what it was. But now I feel like it has really, really leveled up and there is a lot more skill involved and a lot more acting involved to bring those characters to life. And especially when books are done in, because Lights Out's in duet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe your listeners know, I'm going to say it just in case they don't, but typically with an audiobook, you get one narrator who narrates the whole thing and does like
Mm-hmm.
male and female voices, or you get dual narration, which is where she'll narrate her chapters and he'll narrate his, or, it might be two female actors as well. and
Yeah.
they'll do the male or the female speaking parts. Or you get duet, which is the way that my audiobooks are done, which is where even if the chapter is in the female character's point of view, then the male narrator will say his lines. And then it's much more of a conversation, it's much more
Love it.
immersive. I think that in spicy romance, particularly, it's really fantastic as a format because it's much more
Immersive.
intense and you're really in that
Yeah.
scene with them.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, unfortunately, some of the time, but yeah, so I think it's fantastic. And again, I didn't know any of this stuff until I started getting audiobooks produced, but it's yeah, I think it really, really brings the whole thing to life in an incredible way. And some of those actors are just stunning.
Honestly, sometimes I see these like actors, like photos of them or like them at like book events, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you yourself are also a beautiful person and your voice is
Yeah.
gorgeous. Like, how does it feel to win? Like, how does it feel? I just I well, there is another book that I wanted to mention.
Hmm.
So Scary in Love is not your first like holiday novella, spicy, cute vibes. You have
Mm.
another book, which is actually how I found you and how a lot of listeners may know you, called Can I Tell You Something? Can you tell us a little bit more about that book?
Yes, I can. So, Can I Tell You Something is the first book in a holiday duet called Snowbound Secrets. Can I Tell You Something is the first one, and the second one is called See You Next Winter. Can I Tell You Something is out in ebook, paperback, audiobook. See You Next Winter is coming in audiobook this November. So, I'm proofing it at the moment, and it's incredible. I'll talk about that in a minute. Can I Tell You Something is about a woman who she's a young lawyer in England, and every Christmas her family go and spend 2 weeks at their chalet in the French Alps. And so I'm a skier, and I've spent lots of time in the French Alps, and it's a place that I love. Like it's in my bones, even though I'm not from there. And I always wanted to do a book in a kind of alpine setting. And so I had this idea that it was going to be like a brother's best friend romance, and he's going to bring home her brother's going to bring home a friend, and it's going to be somebody that she knows, but in a different capacity. So in this
Ooh,
situation, Cameron is also an audio erotica narrator who Hannah happens to be a huge fan of. And so audio erotica is I would expect that lots of your listeners are familiar, but it's a
they do.
format that's like it's like an audiobook, but it's one-sided, so you're the other character in the story, and the whole story is driven by the dialogue of the narrator, speaker, and you, the listener, are the person that is being interacted with in the story.
Mhm.
So it's a fantastic format. Hannah in the book is a huge fan and is quite shocked that her brother brings home this person that she didn't know was his roommate, and it's this narrator that she absolutely loves. What was really important to me with that book is that she is horrified. She's not like, oh, he's here. I can like, she doesn't want him to know that she knows who he is. So he is a kind of he's a known person online, but he has an alter ego called Mac and Please, which I thought was very tongue in cheek. And so she didn't know that his name was Cameron. So finding out that that's who it is a big shock. He quite quickly realizes that she knows who he is. And so then it becomes a little bit of a cat and mouse games to kind of get her to break and confess that she knows. And from there, the story just continues. So yeah, that was a super fun book. That was my first Christmas book. It did really well. Again, like I said, I then got it made into audio, and the audio is where that book just flew because a lot of people said it was like their gateway into audiobooks. Or
Yeah.
if you haven't listened to audiobooks, then this is one to, try and see how you get on with. Because again, it's in duet, and Adam Gold is the male narrator, Evelyn Rose is the female narrator, and they are both absolutely incredible. But his voice really, really lends itself well to the role of Cameron slash Mac. So yeah, it's like a love letter to the French Alps and the mountains and skiing, but also super spicy.
As a queer girly, I was shooketh. I was listening to your audiobook through my library, and I was like setting up the Christmas tree. I was, drinking my tea, or my family would go to sleep and I read near the Christmas tree and I have some like alone time. And I was listening to the book and I was like, am I blushing? I don't even like men. I was like, this is something powerful. I was listening to your book and I was like, okay, now kiss. Like it takes a while for them to get together, but listeners, if you love like banter and like a little bit of a slow burn. Like, you know, she wants him, but you know, he wants her. But it's just a matter of like, how are we going to get together? There are things in the way, a little bit of like spicy moments where it's like, no one's home. I'm like, I was literally like kicking my feet up, like waiting. I was like, now kiss, now fall in love. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you have like Barbies and you're like, now these two people belong together. That's
Yeah.
me when I'm reading your books. I'm like, these two people do not realize they belong together, but they do.
That's so
um,
funny you mentioning the Barbies because that's just reminded me that when I was a kid and we used to go on ski holidays, we used to go to this one place that had like a sauna under the stairs. It was really,
ooh,
really strange, like just big enough for like, two or three people to squish in. But the kids used to love it because every day that we would go in there, someone would have put the Barbies in there in a different position, which as I'm saying out loud is quite weird on two levels. It's a weird thing to do anyway, but also those Barbies could probably have melted, maybe. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know the boiling point of a Barbie doll. I'm sure some people
Someone probably
have
does.
dabbled in
Dang.
boiling a Barbie. But yeah, so that just brought back that
That's
memory for
kind of
me. Sorry,
adorable.
tangent.
I
I
think
know
it's kind
it
of
would.
cute. Like, it's a
It
little
just
bit of
used to make us
lore.
laugh so much because we would be like, what are the Barbies going to be doing in this sauna?
Why does it give like Elf on a Shelf for some
Yes,
reason? Like, it definitely gives
yes.
that. I,
Barbie in
I
a sauna doesn't have the same ring to
it
it, but
doesn't have the
yeah,
same ring. Also now whenever I think of Barbie, I just think of like Margot Robbie for some reason, like because of the
yeah,
movie. I'm like,
yeah,
thanks, Barbie. Like I'm looking at your book and I'm like, you're awesome. You did a
yeah.
good job with that. um, I wanted to ask, what was your favorite thing about writing both Can I Tell You Something and Scary in Love? Even though Scary in Love is more Halloween and Can I Tell You Something is more Christmas, I feel like they could have similarities in a way.
Mm.
Like they could have, maybe I'm hoping Scary in Love has that banter that you write so freaking beautifully. But I want to know, like, what is your favorite part of writing stories like this, these holiday novellas and
Mm.
romances?
Well, I was just going to say the banter.
Oh,
I love writing flirting, and I love making characters say things that would make the other character blush, but then would also make me blush if someone said it to me. And so I think there's some really good banter in Scary in Love as the pair begin to kind of understand each other a little bit better and kind of tease their personalities out.
ooh,
So Jenna Lang is somebody who, yeah, she's always felt like a bit of a misfit. And so what that has meant is that, in the small town, the dating pool is quite small and it's hard to find someone that she really connects with. And so Mason is able to say things to her in a way that really get right under her skin because he's quite an observant person. A scare actor is a person who has to be able to read people's body language and signals and know how they can act that's gonna give the person in the haunted house experience the feeling and the emotion and the reaction that they're trying to elicit in a scene. And
wow.
so having that skill in a haunted house experience is something that I think can absolutely be applied to relationships and bedroom dynamics. I don't want to give away too
Mm.
much.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, give it all away. No, this is a non-spoiler episode, but I'm just waiting. I'm like, okay, guys, the book comes out September 10th. Like, we all come together. Like, we all have to read this book. We have to do it. Like, it sounds amazing. And like the less you say, the more I'm like, mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more. I
Yeah.
need more. I need more. I'm like, if you could, ooh, it's a good question. If you could cast anyone like in a movie,
Oh
if
gosh.
Scary in Love came out, I love asking authors this question. They're like, no, I don't picture anyone, and then they tell me exactly who they're picturing. But if you could cast anyone in Scary in Love, if it did ever become a movie, who would you
That would be
cast?
amazing. I really, really struggle with this because I'm not one of those authors who like before I start a book, I'll always make like a vision board or a mood board for it. But I will just find like pictures of people on Pinterest and stock websites. And
Mm,
so I don't know who they are. So it's never like a specific celebrity that I have in my
okay.
mind. The other thing is that I have aphantasia. Are you familiar with
No,
aphantasia? So again, sorry for any listeners who are
no.
already familiar,
Tell
but
me more.
Aphantasia is this thing where when you close your eyes, you can't picture anything. So you can't like some people will say like close your eyes and picture an elephant, and people can literally visualize an elephant.
Hmm.
And I just see black. I cannot do that.
Oh wow.
And it's quite a weird concept because nobody can see what other people see. And so a
Hmm.
lot of people have aphantasia and don't realize they don't know. Like other people will say, yeah, I can literally picture like a clear moving elephant in the jungle. But I can't do that. So that's I think why I also find it quite hard to be like, oh, this is specifically this actor.
Ah.
And what that means is that I'm really good at writing things that are based around settings or
Mm.
visuals that I have actually experienced and seen in real life. But I could never be like a fantasy writer because I can't do imaginary world building in my head.
Mm.
And you know, when people, it's like when if you ever go to like a meditation or a yoga class or something, and they're like, picture like a calm beach with palm trees. And I'm like, well, I sort of know what that looks like from pictures or TV, but I've never sat on a beach like that. So I can't summon that, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It's very, we could do a whole hour on aphantasia. We won't. But long answer to your very lovely question. I don't know who I would cast, and I will be very open to hearing reader feedback on who they would cast.
Ooh, I am very excited to read Scary in Love, but I did have like a cast in my head when I was reading Can I Tell You Something?
Oh yeah,
For some reason, I was listening to this guy's voice and I was like, it's giving Andrew Garfield. He played I'm not, for listeners who don't know who that is, he was Spider-Man at one point. He has this like brunette hair, hazel
mm.
eyes. As he's gotten older, I think he's gotten definitely like more attractive. He was already good looking
Mm.
before, but now I'm like, mm-hmm,
He's developed a confidence, I think, that
mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes, there's a photo of him in this like reddish wine colored like suit, and he's wearing this like gold chain, and he's got the like the facial hair a little bit going on, but he
I
looks
think
like
I know the
he's,
picture.
yes, he looks like he could have been like a librarian. He just got out of work and he had like a nice dinner to go to, and he like
Hmm.
ruffled himself up. I'm just sick with something about him. I can't describe it. I'm sitting here and I'm like, when I say like I have like a man crush, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I just want to go to dinner and talk to him. Like that is my
Yeah.
equivalent of like as far as it would ever go. I'm like, I just want to have a meal with you. I just want to be your friend, attractive man. But yes, Andrew Garfield is who I imagined as the like love interest. And can I tell you something? I needed him to be cute, but also
Mm,
sexy. I was like, Andrew Garfield. And for some reason,
yeah.
I imagined Lily Collins as the female main character of Can I Tell You Something? I don't know why. I was like, yeah,
She
yeah.
would be amazing in that role as
The,
Hannah. Yeah.
there was a scene where she comes down the stairs and she's in like socks and like cozy pajamas, and she was going to read in her chair, and he's there, and she sees him and she's like, and she like runs upstairs, and like she was in her comfy clothes with her family. She was not expecting a super handsome Andrew Garfield with a super sexy
Yeah.
voice to come into this house and blow her mind. What?
Yeah.
But I
I
don't
love
want to
that
spoil
character
that.
so much because she's quite tense, she's quite highly strung, and she finds it really she really looks forward to this vacation every year because it's kind of the only time that she really truly relaxes.
Mm,
And you know, she's like graduated and she's working now, and so life is kind of changing in ways that, you know, as we all grow up, there are real world horrors that do make it harder to have the peace of someone in their teens or early 20s. Not peace, ignorance, naivety is what it is. Uh,
tranquility away from
yes,
adulthood.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she is really, and that's why the audiobook is incredible because Evelyn really plays that like internal panic and horror at something happening that you're like, oh no, I need to keep a straight face about this and not be embarrassed. And I need to kind of, yeah, she's incredible in that role. So I love Hannah for that. And I think, you know, what you say about Andrew Garfield as Cameron is interesting as well, because a lot of the way that I write men in books is that they are kind of normal guys who have this really sexy side to them that make, you know, maybe not everyone would get to see.
Yeah.
And you know, in Scary in Love, Mason is somebody who has, you know, unexpectedly found himself in a situation that he doesn't really know how to handle, and so
Mm.
the haunt, the Halloween haunt that he runs is his kind of short-term solution to a long-term problem, and he's just scrambling to kind of get through, and so meeting Jenna is a kind of grounding experience for him that was very unexpected. And, on the surface, most people would just see like a nice guy, but he definitely has a feral side. And
I
that's what
love
she's
it.
gonna meet.
I adore it. I like there is something about reading a book like I think of like Butcher from Butcher and Blackbird. There's something about like there's these iconic scenes in books that I read and it's like it sticks in my head forever, like a movie scene. Like I'm like, oh, I will forever remember that chapter 45, page 54. I'm like, there's something about like, there's something about seeing a love interest go from like who they are in front of people to like the roots of who they are, like maybe their
Mm,
darkest fantasy or a memory they're not super proud of, or just a moment of like pure passion where like they reveal themselves, like really who they are. And the love
yeah,
interest sees that and they have a choice. You can either stick around and be here for them and support them if they need it, or you can walk away. And in some books they walk away and they come back and that becomes part of the story. But in Can I Tell You Something, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I can pinpoint a scene where it's like, oh, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna leave? Like,
is it chapter
whoa.
23?
I'm sitting here and I'm like, make a decision. You have to make a decision. And it's the
Yeah.
Barbie vibe all over again. It's like, now kiss. So it's that's the best I can describe it. It's like reading a good book almost like transports you back to that age where like you stayed up all night reading, and your parents are like, you're totally asleep, but you've got your light under the sheets and you're reading
Yeah.
and you're loving it. And like now as an adult, your light has become like your Kindle and you're hoping it'll wake your partner or your friend,
Yeah.
or your dorm mate or whatever. And you're reading this book and you're like, I cannot stop. And that was me with Can I Tell You Something? I was like, this is Christmas time. How spicy can it be? And I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's so spicy. But it was just so good. And I've never been to the Alps before, but I was like, oh, I want to go. Like the way you described the town was a character. It was cozy. It was cold. There's a scene with a bar. They have to leave a bar, and
Hmm.
like it's like, oh, it's very dark and it's very steep, but we have to do it. So there's just so much like joy in your stories, like and you could
Mm.
tell that you like there's joy in the writing. So for listeners who do read these books, I'm telling you, you're gonna have a good time. The characters are literally unforgettable. Andrew Garfield, aka handsome. And I can't wait to read like your spooky, sexy Halloween stories, Scary in Love, because I'm like, that is such a great like trope, like to be scared, but also like, oh, wait, you're kind of cute though.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, this is what I really wanted to play on with this book is that there's a kind of, dark romance is a whole genre in itself. And I think there's a kind of, not a gap, because people definitely bridge this, but there's a space for readers who love like a cutesy, cozy romance that has spice, but that also
mhm.
maybe has elements of dark fantasy or desire, or like that's more of a role play setting.
Yeah.
And that's what I really, really wanted to capture with this book is a kind of a bridge between cute and cozy and dark and scary. And so, there's no real threat to life. It's not, I've been saying it's not a dark romance. It's more like a spooky, spicy rom-com. But I hope that people will still get that feeling of like, oh my God, she's going to be really terrified going into this setting, but there's going to be treats as well as tricks. She's going to be fine.
I do want to say I went to Halloween Horror Nights once when I was like a teenager, and I never understood it. I was like, oh, like they're in masks, but they were like shirtless people and like really ripped dudes and like really like toned women. And I was like, oh wait, what is the plot of the film? I was like, wait, I'm supposed to be scared. I get it. But is it just me or did he like wink at her just now? Like, why is that scary girl like approaching me with such like flirtatious energy? Like, what's happening?
Mm,
I was sitting here, I'm like, no, this is a scary story. I'm like, but your voice is so silky sonic. It's even I feel like I sound crazy, but I'm sitting here and I'm like the masked person, like recently it's been a thing on social media where like, especially
Hmm.
with lights out and things like that, um with the character from Scream, be aware,
Yeah.
not a good person. It was an unaliver, like they were a bad person, but the mask and
Yeah.
that silky sonic voice of like, what's your scary movie, like what's your favorite scary movie, terrifying, terrifying, but also
Doing
I
something
was like,
that people
why
can't
is this
explain.
kind of cool? But people started posting on social media like with their partners and their husbands and wives, like someone in a mask and like kind of saucy vibes. I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah.
it's
I
not
was
just
like, what's
me.
happened here? Where did this
what
come from?
what just happened? But also like, I will not spoil Scream, but there's a character in that movie who's now an older man, and he aged like fine wine. Like that's a very good looking man. For anyone who is wondering who I'm talking about, he was also in Riverdale. He played one of the dads. Um, but
I know who you're talking
do
about.
you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
I was there. The agent text were written. There was an actor, and I'm telling you, I need someone, maybe you, to write a story about like someone who looks like him. It's a very
Mm,
specific look. I need like a motorcycle romance, like where he used to be a bad boy as a teenager, but now he's like a new man. Like he's different now, but he's still got that edgy, rugged side to him. I
yeah.
need it to be like he works at a coffee shop now, but like he's still a bad boy. Like he still has his motorcycle, and he's got a dark past, but not really that dark. Not as dark as his cappuccinos. I'm like, I'm telling you, like, there's something about that juxtaposition. This man looks so grisly and tough, but I need
Yeah.
him to be in like a cozy setting where he's like
Yeah.
learning to make like latte art, and he's his
Yeah.
tattooed hands trying to make latte art. I don't know.
Yeah. Or he's like a single dad, and so he's learning how to like braid hair,
Yes,
or like, he's having to go to the store for tampons at 11 o'clock at
100%.
night.
Like you have
Um,
like a visual of him with like the baby satchel thing on his chest while he's like riding a motorcycle. You know what I mean? And
no,
the
that's
baby's
that's not safe.
I need him to be like with the baby and like going as slowly as possible because he doesn't believe in Toyotas. He doesn't believe in vans. He's still a grizzled man. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. Or like
You
he
need
had
to
to
write
put his
this
bike
story.
away and now he has a bicycle. You know what I mean? But it's like a hardcore like black bicycle with like skulls on it. But he
Mhm.
still has like his like rock and roll edge. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
like
You
someone,
do it. I think you could
someone.
write this book.
I have the attention span of like a toddler after like a sugar crash. Like it's not, unless I'm reading, I'm like I could be anywhere right now. Like mentally I could be in like a whole other landscape right now.
Mm,
But I will say while reading your books I was like zoned in. I You could not, I was like it locked in my story. I'm in my mind palace. Do not take me out. But I just wanted to say how excited I am to read Scary in Love. I cannot wait for it to come out. And I know that you have other books out as well that I'm like, I need more people to know about these books. So if you could promote one of your books, you could share one book that you're like, I need more people to know about this book. I needed to get
mm.
some more love. What book would you talk about?
Well, I would have said my other Christmas books because we're obviously going to be spooky season is quite short and then we're into holiday season. Um, but actually, my very, very first book, which is also a short book, it's about 180 pages, I think, is
Oh
called
wow.
Just a Little Crush.
Oh,
And that is a story that I love that readers are finding is like a backlist book for me. So that is about a woman who, again, it's set in the UK, it's small town. She runs a cheese shop, which was her grandfather's cheese shop. There's an Alyssa in that book. The best friend is
cute.
called Alyssa, but she's called Beck, and she has had like a lifelong crush on this guy called Alistair Rendell, or everyone calls him Rennie. And he is like the town hero. He's the golden boy. He's a firefighter, but he like helps little old ladies with their shopping. He volunteers at rhyme time. He reads to the toddlers. The mums come from miles around to take their kids to firefighter Rennie's rhyme time. Um, and she thinks that he's a really pure guy. And he also has a crush on her, but thinks that she's a really pure woman and really good hearted because they are good people. But underneath the surface, they are a pair of freaks.
Ooh,
And there is a catalyst that brings those two together, which is that Beck is driving home one day listening to an audiobook, like a really spicy audiobook, And there's a storm and she's in a car crash. This is where Just a Little Crush comes from. And Rennie's firefighter unit are the people that come first on scene to rescue her. And when he realizes it's her, he's like tearing at the car door to get her out. But her phone has been flung and the audiobook is still playing. And it's like a really spicy scene. So she's screaming her head off to like cover up the moans from this audio. And he thinks that she's really injured. And then he hears it and he's like, what is going on? And that's the kind of moment that he realizes maybe she's not so sweet after all.
Oh.
Luckily, she escapes with minor injuries, but she lives in an apartment above the shop and she cannot navigate the stairs. So she has to come and live with Rennie while she recovers. She's injured her wrist. She cannot relieve her horny tension from staying with this man, and he offers to help out. So
Oh my God. I'm sitting here and I'm like,
I
I feel like a raccoon. I like activated. I'm like, my trash. I'm like so excited.
I still like blush when I talk about that book because it's very cute and spicy. There's a lot that's packed into such a short book. And I'm glad that it's finding more and more readers. I actually just commissioned some character art for it the other day, so I'll be very, very excited for that to come and for it to get a little bit more new promo. But yeah, every book that I've written I love. But if you're new to me and you enjoy Scary in Love and the holiday romances, definitely go back and read Just a Little Crush because it's a tiny little banger.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I've already added it to my Kindle. As you speak, I'm like, tell me
Bless
more.
you.
I'm like just very quietly, like I'm making a financial decision right now to support anything you write. I'm like, my home shall be built of books. I don't need a bed. I just
Yeah,
need books.
you're
um,
very sweet. Thank
I'm
you.
like, yes, it sounds absolutely amazing. So we dove a little bit into Scary in Love, your October, like Halloweeny, like cozy, sexy vibe, but also haunted house and maybe some banter,
Hmm.
and also spicy scenes. We also discuss, can I tell you something, which is giving the best audiobook ever. All right. It is absolutely divine. If you're like, I'm an audiobook person, you will be an audiobook person because
Yeah,
this book is
it's
amazing.
definitely worth trying in audio.
So good. There's literally like excerpts, like between chapters, you'll hear like scenarios from his business. And you'll hear him be like, "Oh, honey, you came home early. Well, I just made dinner. Ooh, take the coat off." And you'll be like, and then it'll end, and you're sitting here, and you're like, ah, and then it'll go back to where they are in real time, and you're just like, so kiss.
Yeah.
It's so so good. And I cannot wait to read your other books coming out, and as well as reading your backlog because I see so many books and I'm like, wait, I need to read this. Like The Best Book Boyfriend and The Worst Guy Ever. I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, yeah, you know
That's a
what?
good trio.
These sound absolutely amazing. The No Rules Roommate. I'm like, ooh, okay, forced proximity,
Yeah. Forced
right?
proximity, age gap where she's older and he works for her
Oh,
dad. And she dreams of a life with an older man in finance, but her new roommate is a younger man who is a construction worker for her dad. And he's very handy.
ooh, okay. Can you tell me a little bit about The Worst Guy Ever? If you can give me a little blurb about that.
Yeah. The worst. So, well, let's backtrack. So, the first book in the Sunshine Book Club series is The Best Book Boyfriend. That is about Cara and Luke. Cara has been dumped after 12 years, unceremoniously, didn't see it coming, sworn off men, perfectly happy to just spend her time with book boyfriends. Luke has just moved to her town. He's grieving. He's a widower. He's starting over. He's made promises that he wants to fulfill, that he will move on with his life and pursue his passions. And so they strike up a very cautious friendship because they're both at a place in their lives where love and happiness don't feel possible for them anymore. But then he asks her for book recommendations. And so as they start to read together, feelings develop. And
Oh,
then yeah, I love that book so much. And then in The Worst Guy Ever, that's their two best friends, Hattie and Rob, and they are both serial daters. Like they do not believe in love, they do not want a relationship. They're very
ooh,
happy to just have a lot of hookups. And
okay.
then the first time that they meet, he bets that he can get her into bed. He's quite cocky and arrogant. And she's like, I will take that bet and it will be the easiest money I will ever make because you have no chance with me. And so that a lot of that book is them trying really hard to resist each other while also very slowly breaking down each other's walls and bringing out that kind of there are reasons for both of them why they don't believe in love and relationships.
Wow.
And so them meeting each other is a bit of a shock because they didn't think that this would be the person who would change their mind. And I love that story so much. The banter in that book and the trying to seduce each other and then the trying to sabotage each other is so, so much fun. And then the No Rules Roommate is the third one in that series. So that's Megan and Ollie, the third friend in that group. So yeah, that's a great trio to read. And they're full-length novels, so that's a little bit more of a time investment, but you can definitely get immersed in their world if you read them back to back.
Wow. I want to know a little bit more about the No Rules roommate. What's the story with that last book?
So she suddenly has a room free in her apartment, and her this guy Ollie is a younger guy and he is converting a van because he wants to go traveling. And he works for Megan's dad, and the dad says, look, my daughter has this room that's free. You can stay there, use that money to work on your van. And so it's like an offer that he can't refuse. And she is kind of like, I'm in my 30s. How's my life come to this? I have such a clear plan. She's an English teacher. She's a planner. She's an organizer. She knows what she wants out of life, and it's just not happening. And then this young guy moves in, and she feels like, completely thrown off course. So they don't get off to the best start. But then, he's like, I don't want to live here if you don't like, if you leave the room every time I come in. So he says, let's have a dinner, like, let's have a chat. If you have questions, let's get to know each other a little bit better so we can at least be comfortable around each other. And then both of them have various things that they go through that the other person is there to support. And
Mm.
so it becomes a kind of, it's, that's my slowest burn and my biggest book, but it's natural for that kind of dynamic. She's never going to just like jump into bed with this hot young guy. But again, when they do, he very much brings her out of her shell. So you're always going to get a lot of sweet and spice together with me. And then quite often unexpected tears. People will often be like, I did not expect this book to make me so sad. But then horny in the same chapter. How is this happening?
It's like, oh no, my heart is hurting. It's like, I can fix that. It's like, okay. It's
And that's very much the case in See You Next Winter, which is the follow-up to Can I Tell You Something? So they're a duet. See You Next Winter is Hannah's brother's story. So his name is Ryan. And again, the family have always had these 2 weeks every winter in their chalet in the Alps. And so he has a festive friends with benefits situation with this woman called Kayla. They only see each other for these 2 weeks a year, but in those 2 weeks, they make the most of it. But Ryan hasn't come back for a few years,
yeah.
and this year he comes back unexpectedly, which completely throws Kayla off course. She's kind of drawn a line under it, but they realize that 2 weeks a year is not going to be enough for them. And so that has a really, really beautiful structure to that story because you get both perspectives. But as you're reading the story of what's happening now, you're also getting these flashback chapters that go back through their whole history. So it's funny because I'm watching The Summer I Turned Pretty at the moment. Love that show so much. And I feel like the book has it's not similar vibes, but it's a similar dynamic between those two people that they have a lot of history from their childhood and then all these stories to tell and all these reasons that really bind them together. So if you've been enjoying that show, I would definitely recommend picking up See You Next Winter. And also the audiobook of that is going to be out in November. So that's really exciting too.
Just in time for my birthday. I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes, like for Scorpio babies out there who are like, I need something spicy, but I also want like a heart in there too. It's like,
Yes.
yes, you are the author for that. And the last book that I want to bring up is One More Gift,
Mm,
which I'm like, ooh, we have not one but two love interests. Why
we do.
choose?
Hmm.
And I wanted to ask a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I love this book so much. So, One More Gift was a surprise release last Christmas. It's an MMF book. It's about, it sounds so unhinged, but I know that romance readers will get it. It's fine.
100%.
And we're not having this conversation in the school playground. Um, so in that book, Saskia and Casper have been married for a long time, but they have divorced amicably because they've reached this point where they want different things in life. There's a lifelong friend who's in the scene for Saskia, and so this Christmas she's going to her like country cottage. So if you think about the house from the movie The Holiday, it's based on
Hmm.
that house. And she's going to be spending Christmas with Henry, one of her oldest friends, because there's always been like an unspoken thing between them, and now they're both single, and this is a time that maybe they're going to explore that. And
Ooh.
so Henry arrives, and everything is set to be wonderful. And then there are headlights on the driveway, and Saskia's ex-husband Casper has turned up. He claims he thought the cottage was going to be empty for Christmas, but as it transpires, he knew that they were both going to be there. And Saskia has always had one deep sexual desire that he alone has not been able to fulfill. But he knew that if he came there when Henry was also there, he would be able to give her that one more gift. So it's very spicy. It's low angst, high heat. It's like 150 pages. So again, it's like perfect to just read in an evening at Christmas
It's
time. It's
it's
not
giving like
super.
mulled
It's
wine. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
spicy and like fun. I'm like, ooh, okay, throw all the
yeah.
things in the pot. Okay,
Get
okay.
the Christmas lights on, get a
Yeah,
mulled wine, a little blanket on the go, maybe a little box of chocolates, and
yeah.
just enjoy spending an evening. But again, with that book, one of the things that I love most about it is that the dynamic shifts quite a lot between those three characters, and they all kind of get their turn to be in charge of a situation.
Oh.
And so yeah, it's a lot of fun. And that
Ooh.
is also coming in audiobook in
What?
November. And we have three narrators for that book. And I
Wow.
haven't I haven't done narrator reveals yet. They are coming soon. And yeah, I'm really, really excited for people to hear that one too.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for all the amazing news coming out about your books. Honestly, hearing that you have more audiobooks coming out in the future, I'm like, a win is a win. Like, this is a win. Like, for readers out there, I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we're winning. It's a good season. It's a good time. What a time to be alive. This is great. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You shared something about literally all of your books. I was like, so tell me about your entire writing history.
No, you're so sweet to ask. Thank you.
100%. And if you could, we're closing out this episode, but if you could describe Scary in Love in 5 words,
Oh gosh.
your Halloween smutty, sweet, scary, like, but safe scares kind of story,
Yeah.
how would
I
you
th
describe it in 5 words?
I think 5 words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say spooky, spicy, rom-com, pleasure, dom.
Oh,
That's five.
love that.
That's his vibe.
Love that. This sounds
And if
amazing.
and if we can hyphenate pleasure dom, then I'm also going to throw in fishnets.
Ooh, okay, all right. This is giving very fun. It's giving what's your Halloween costume? Like,
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm-mm. It's like we were dressing up. I love that where it's like you're wearing your Halloween costume. It's like we're dressing up this year. I'm like,
That's that's like a low-key mini author goal for me is that people start tagging me in pictures of their outfits with this book. I would love
oh
that
my
so much. I'm going to
God.
put that out there into the universe.
Yes, do it, do it. I will probably to promote this episode. I may even do that. Like do a little like Halloween costume. Be like, this is the gift. This
Bless
is the
you.
vibe. 100%. Holly, where can everyone find you on social media? Where can they find your books?
So I'm at Holly June Smith everywhere, and all of my books are on Amazon. I am working on getting an online shop up and running, but there are all
Ooh.
sorts of crazy things going on with postal tariffs, which is the kind of admin that no author wants to really do.
Mhm.
But watch this space. I also have a mailing list that people can sign up for and a Patreon. But yeah, at Holly June Smith on Instagram is the first place to go, and you'll find everything there.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, everyone. Please follow Holly June Smith on Instagram. There's so many like posts about her books, quotes, character art. It's such a like a little like treasure trove of just bookish, amazing content. Follow them on Goodreads. And like I said, the Christmassy vibes is very much giving, can I tell you something? See you next winter. For the series we were talking about that had Just a Little Crush, which I will definitely be reading. You can find all of their books on Goodreads. I'm sure you can also check Fable, but Scary in Love for the spooky season is the book that I'm like very excited for you all to read. I personally cannot wait to read this. This is going to be coming out September 10th of this year. So just keep your eye out. Also, there's a new thing on Goodreads where it'll show you what date the book is coming out. So you can put it on your
Mhm.
calendar and get ready. But
Yeah.
Holly, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You were a joy to have on here. And I can't wait to read Scary in Love. And I'm sure listeners will too. So
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
absolutely. Have a wonderful day. And thank you everyone for listening. Like this on YouTube, subscribe on there, follow on Spotify, and have a wonderful day.